Hello and welcome. You're watching me, Sanket Upadhyay. This show is called AI with Sanket. This is the AI of news, and today is a big day to have an analytical program on what the results have shown. It is a big upset for the traditional parties in Tamil Nadu. It is a massive upset, at least moving in that direction, for Mamata Banerjee in West Bengal. Assam, many would say, was on predictable lines. Kerala, some would say, was on predictable lines. Let's put this to a quick discussion with an esteemed group of guests and panelists who are going to take us through what exactly has happened and how one must read these election results. Remember, these are still early trends. It's 10:30. Things sometimes change, but largely they follow a trend post 10:30. Many television channels even call the elections around this time. I have with me senior journalist Neerja Chowdhury, political commentator Shikha Mukherjee, senior journalist Aditi Phadnis from Business Standard, Mr. K.A. Shaji, senior journalist from Kerala. In just a short moment, we'll also be joined in by Mr. S. Srini Vasan, editor-in-chief of TheFederal. We want to begin with you, Ms. Shikha Mukherjee. Would you say that this, whatever is happening in West Bengal, the results give a sense of finality, or is there still some surprise?
Puducherry say that yes, Mamata is leading in as of now, but it's going to change and that he's going to win the Bhawanipur seat. So in other words, the votes are still being counted. But let me also say this, that the BJP has been very consistent in claiming that it is going to win this election. It's going to win this election in a very tight fight. And that's because they think that they have micromanaged many things that were on the ground, and they have used every bit of it. And the micromanagement I will list for you. One is that of course there is anti-incumbency. B, the BJP believed that the SIR would have no impact on the election itself. That people, once they have been put off the list, in other words, the deletions have made a big difference in terms of the outcome. The third thing is that the Muslim vote, which is supposed to have consolidated behind Mamata Banerjee, seems not to have consolidated against Mamata Banerjee. And this, the BJP is telling me, is what they had aimed to achieve, and that it seems from the early trends that they have achieved it. The fourth thing is that Mamata Banerjee was perhaps overconfident about the consolidation of the Muslim vote and the women's vote, and maybe that hasn't exactly played out as she was anticipating. Or we were anticipating, as a matter of fact.
Okay, very quickly, Mr. S. Srinivasan, editor-in-chief of TheFederal, is also with us for the big upheaval in Tamil Nadu politics, which seems to have happened. Mr. Srinivasan, if you allow me, I'll just come to you in just a short moment by taking quick opening comments from Neerja Chowdhury, Aditi Phadnis and K.A. Shaji.
Sure.
Ms. Neerja Chowdhury, your key takeaways from this poll. I mean, I look at Tamil Nadu, where TVK, a first-timer, has already crossed 100.
I think, Sanket, earlier, the first impression that I'm left with is that Generation Z has had a role in the outcome of this election. People want a change. They're tired of established parties. There's a fatigue. They want a different way of doing politics, and jobs have become very important for people everywhere. So while social welfare schemes, yes, work up to a point, like a woman says, yes, it helps me 1,500 rupees, but I want my daughter who's a graduate to get 20,000 rupees a month. Now she's a Mamata supporter, but that is the aspirational generation. So it's the upwardly mobile, the aspirational, and women included in that, who I would also call it is a Dil Mange More election and wanting change. So every single party, I feel, will have to take a close look at this. What is the message that's really coming across this? Now, the only state that's withstood the desire for change is Hemant Biswa Sarma in Assam. And why is that? That also has to be looked at. Was it the way the delimitation was done? Was it him being given a free hand by his party top brass? And therefore, he has a stature in Assam and the Northeast. Did he micromanage very well? Many things. I think that's also a very interesting thing. But did the delimitation exercise in Assam also help the BJP this time? So I think I think this will also have a bearing on the delimitation that's impending. Will the South really now back it? It's going to increase the East solidly with the BJP, like a complete, mass, Assam, Orissa, Bengal, Bihar, what Amit Shah calls Anga Banga Kalinga and Assam, and added to it. The narrative will become increasingly a north-south one in the future, something to guard against. And the delimitation exercise will become a political tool. So I'm only looking ahead at, what could be the fallout. But this election is very unlike elections in the past. Of course, SIR has been a factor in Bengal.
Exactly. Ms. Aditi Phadnis, your opening comments, when you look at these results at 10:39 a.m., what are your 4 or 5 key takeaways?
Well, as Neerja ji said, some bastions have been breached. The BJP appears to be heading for a fantastic victory in West Bengal. How that has been achieved is a story which the full story has not yet been told. We are also seeing in Tamil Nadu the rise of a new grouping. In the past, Tamil Nadu has not really given the kind of support to film stars turned actors. I recall Shivaji Ganeshan's performance in past elections. In one election, he did really well, but in this next election, he got 0 seats, although he contested all. So actors by themselves are not, it's not a celluloid fascinated state as people tend to think it is. What you're saying matters a lot, even more as this election shows us than what you do. And clearly, the special intensive revision as well as the issue of delimitation has not cut much ice with the Tamilian voters. Uh, in Kerala, I find that at least the first trend showed that even Pinarayi was not doing so well. So it's a situation where the cadres seem to have not worked in favor of the left front. And in Puducherry, which is a often neglected and very interesting place, TVK, against the fantastic performance in the neighboring states, TVK has done really badly. It hasn't got a single seat, although TVK had some very big stalwart supporting it. So, all in all, I think many shibboleths and many oft-held beliefs have been toned down in this election. And one of them is the issue of incumbency. In West Bengal, I'm not sure how many BJP incumbents have won and how many have lost. So, incumbency cannot only work against the ruling party, it also has to work against the opposition. So, we have to wait for the final result to see, to draw any any far reaching conclusions.
Yeah. Mr. S. Srinivasan, now coming to you, and particularly this keen contest, which was so far, at least in the north, not in the south, but at least in the north, many people thought that West Bengal will be a big headline, which it is. But for Tamil Nadu to become a big headline and a big talking point beyond Tamil Nadu, is quite something. The entry of the third wheel, quite literally, for the ADMK and the DMK. How do you view this dramatic and meteoric rise of actor Vijay?
Right. It's certainly a very dramatic change which has happened here. It's still unfolding. It could be leading to a kind of an hung assembly situation here. We still have to see how it goes, because as of now, TVK has got about 102 seats, and the second, I think, lead is AIDMK, about 76. So it really now depends on what happens, how the next phase of development take place, political development take place. That's what we have to wait and see. Only in 2006, such a thing had happened when DMK only managed 96 seats. But then there was a pre-poll alliance, and the parties which were part of that gave an external support, and that was constantly teased by Jayalalitha as a minority government of DMK. Now, coming back to your main core thing of how TVK has just stormed ahead of others, it's like a tsunami here. Now, I do recall some of the reporters of a sister television channel, Pudhiya Thalaimurai, saying that, look, it's like a tsunami. Now, sometimes tsunami, we are in the coastal areas here in Tamil Nadu. You often see these huge waves, hitting the coast. And tsunami is, of course, a different one, which basically comes because there is some kind of an earthquake which has happened far away. But we have seen regular cyclones coming here. And when a cyclone reaches the coast, you really don't know what it is going to leave in its trail. Sometimes it may uproot some, trees, some electric poles. So the outcome wasn't really known. How TVK's this campaign is going to impact ultimately on the electoral scene here, how electorally it will be converted. That was one question everybody was wondering, because sometimes these cyclones just pass away without causing any big damage, and sometimes they can really be very devastating. Now it seems it's really hit very hard, and in all traditional areas, out of I think 43 ministers, DMK, more than half of them, 23, are trailing, which means an outright rejection of the regime, and people certainly want a huge change here. And the one thing is here that, to be fair to Stalin, he had fairly been, in your face kind of a chief minister, very visible. He has unleashed a whole lot of schemes especially for women. And Tamil Nadu schemes have been always there, but particularly he focused on women. He did everything possible, and he almost copied Prime Minister Narendra Modi in every which way, as far as campaign style is concerned or his visibility is concerned. But I think one thing has happened in Tamil Nadu. People have taken all these schemes, benefits for granted, because any regime will give them. Certainly they have to. That's a given. That's a basis on which the politics starts here. And the other given here is that you have to have a Dravidian base on the top of which other political activities can happen. So even if you carefully look at TVK, it's also swears by Dravidian politics only. It just uses by other means. Of course, a whole lot of youngsters have certainly backed, which is completely grown on social media. About a crore of youngsters are, below the age of, I think, 21, 22, and another crore maybe below 41. So this large chunk of voters seem to have opted, and it's a pretty emotional one also, because they wanted to vote for a change. And this has been in air for quite some time, that, we need to reject DMK and AIDMK. We must bring some other force. BJP thought that they could be the one, but they couldn't succeed here, obviously, because of the politics, divisive politics. Because Tamil Nadu still remains though religion and caste both play a very crucial role, but it's a pretty homogeneous society in that sense. Caste is a factor here, but then it's not divisive in that sense. So certainly what seems to have happened is youth vote, and then the development issue. Employment is a big issue, like Neerja pointed out. Certainly, there is a need, but here the level is different because being slightly a more economically better off state, people want better things. For instance, I met a dentist who said, "Look, my son is studying medical. He's in a government college, Mahatma Gandhi Medical College, and other relative of his was in Jeepmar. But then the quality of food in the canteen wasn't good." I thought, look, isn't it you're quibbling about something? He said, no. Everyone here feels that, look, we are having an urban life, but we need a better life. See, many of the relatives and other people here in Chennai and around, if you find at least almost one or two family members have visited abroad or studying abroad, so they are pretty much exposed to what really global standard means. So like one of my earlier panelists was saying, they are used to, if you constantly keep comparing yourself with North and say, better off, some of the people probably here think that that's not enough. You need to do more. You need to compare yourself with some of the developed economies if you're constantly calling yourself that. So needs more. So I think Neerja has beautifully put it, saying Dil Mange More. Obviously, the electorate here is seeking more, and that's I think Vijay has come as a kind of a thing to them. But here I must while I'll just conclude here. I must say one thing. So this generation of voters, about 1 crore or so, which has purely grown on digital media, without any, it's a very different world, full of Gen Z, and they have a very different thinking, very different approach. How much they are bothered about other, issues, how much of ideology they really, follow or interested about, those are the issues which are still, need to be figured out. And it's in that sense a pretty much an emotional issue. They all wanted to vote for him, and that's very clear. And you can see the clear divide everywhere.
Yeah. It's. The only other likening that I can do is what we saw in Delhi, and in Delhi in 2015 and 2020, and what we saw in 2014 and 2019. That's the sort of wave. In fact, even for Mamata Banerjee, 2011, 2016, and then. Let's quickly go across to Mr. K.A. Shaji also, because the one little happy story for the UDF or the Congress is Kerala. I mean, a complete lead, marching right ahead of the LDF, a very poor show by the NDA and others also. So 96 is the number of seats they're leading on. Anything that Mr. Shaji you feel we need to be told about, or why this happened, or was this inevitable in the state of Kerala?
As per the latest information, the UDF is leading in 100 seats with a clear majority, and in 39 seats, the left front, their candidates are ahead but with a slender margin. At any moment, the picture will change, and the NDA has been reduced to one single seat. Earlier, the NDA's expectation, the BJP's expectation was that it would get 5 seats. But sadly, at one level, it is a great sigh of relief because the secular party, Congress and UDF is gaining power in Kerala. But at the other level, the left is losing its relevance, not just in Kerala, but across India. Now, the election is turning the last nail on the coffin of the Indian left. And as per the latest information, Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijay is trailing in his Dharmadam constituency in Kannur. And now almost 4 rounds have been completed in that particular constituency, where only left democratic candidates were won so far. And another thing, in 1939, a conference of revolutionaries held in Dharmadam, exactly in the village named Pinarayi, and that meeting of the revolutionaries that formed the Kerala unit of the Communist Party, the undivided Communist Party, and now it is a full circle. The same Pinarayi, the same Dharmadam is making the process a full circle, and a person, a Politburo member, a two-time chief minister, and the longest-serving party state secretary from that locality is now turning almost a liquidator of the party, at least in Kerala, for the time being. And it is a very humiliating kind of defeat for the left. And most of the leaders, most of the ministers were not able to maintain their majority so far. And it is not unexpected. It is part of a process. Nothing happened all of a sudden. And 5 years ago, the picture was different. The Congress was very weak. It was not able to win even its traditional strongholds. But this time, in the last 5 years, there was an organized, sincere effort, particularly on the part of the present opposition leader, Vijay Sadish. He systematically done a clear campaign, not only against the left, but also equally making the NDA responsible and taking directly with NDA. And that is why the BJP's larger scopes, larger experiments with Kerala now looks almost failed. That is one of the biggest achievements of Sadishan personally. While many of the Congress leaders, they were not even ready to mention the BJP. They were almost very soft on BJP and highly critical about the left. But Sadishan, he somehow exploited even the sentiments of the ordinary CPIM workers because they were totally in disregard of the Pinarayi Vijayan style, the extreme muscle power, and he is only pushing the infrastructure development as a revolutionary step or the administrative success. And another level, he is using high decibel of PR and almost like Modi, he is almost similar. Modi minus cow and Hitutwa, that was what Pinarayi Vijayan was doing in Kerala for the last 10 years. And his kind of politics, devoid of ideology, watering down the communist ideals, and going behind the neoliberal and crazy kind of economic policies. That have turned very detrimental, very disastrous for the CPM in Kerala. And the CPM is now learning a big lesson. Because without its politics, without any vision, and just showing some of the infrastructure development, showing some of the bridges, some of the roads, and some controversial tunnels, and one silver line fast-moving train project, the government tried to face this election. And they had high expectation even yesterday, and even the ministers were hoping that they would form the third Pinarayi Vijayan government. All those dreams have been shattered, and now the
Right. I found one thing quite fascinating about what Mr. Shaji said. He said Pinarayi Vijayan was Modi without cow and Hindutva. Now, Ms. Aditi Phadnis and Neerja Chowdhury, that can be explained of any politician in this country apart from Modi. That he is a Modi without cow and Hindutva. Everyone is trying the same thing. Neerja Chowdhury first, and then Ms. Aditi Phadnis, and then we'll go across to Shikha Mukherjee. Ms. Neerja Chowdhury, do you feel, and let's discuss state by state, and let's quickly come back to West Bengal, that Mamata Banerjee can always turn around and say, I fought everything. I was not just fighting the BJP, I fought the ED, I fought SIR, I fought Election Commission, I fought BJP candidates, I fought muscle power and everything.
Yeah, that is true. She as an individual, the way she's taken her party to wherever it is Mamata Banerjee. And the election was about Mamata Banerjee, no doubt about that. But that was obviously not enough. People want more. And while she was, trying to defend Bengali culture, playing the B card, the Bengali card, there was no plan for the future. That was held out for people who, particularly the younger people. The next 5 years, this is what I intend to do. For some reason, the perception was, maybe because of double engine Sarkar, that the BJP, if it comes, may be able to move on that front, industrialization, investment, and so on. Of course, it's a very complex thing. But Pinarayi Vijayan has played, the Hindus have gone to the left front. It's very skillfully played without being, while being secular. So it's a constituency that they have kept been mindful of. And rightly so. It's a constituency Arvind Kejriwal is very mindful of. And the point is that as far as the larger Hindu constituency is concerned, that the BJP wants to consolidate. Narendra Modi wants to consolidate behind him. And the Hindu-Muslim card also worked, though not in an overt way. I didn't find it in an in-your-face way in Bengal, but it did work under the surface. It's a constituency the opposition parties have so far not managed to have a positive narrative for. They go temple hopping or they'll do something to counter what BJP is doing, but that's not good enough. That's a BJP's turf they are fighting on. And I think that is a singular failure, a positive game plan, a positive vision for the future, for the next 30 years, 50 years, that they need to hold out and come to. And I think that is Modi's personality, Modi's functioning, Modi's way of doing politics is one thing. But there, you have to go beyond that. And this election is as much about, the opposition being forced to go back to the drawing board about what they're about.
Yeah, exactly. I believe Ms. Neerja Chowdhury has to leave at 11 o'clock. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Let me also now quickly bring in Shikha Mukherjee, because we are talking about Bengal. Ms. Shikha Mukherjee, do you feel that and it's very evident now that the BJP will form its government, and we know BJP's brand of politics is of a certain kind, but while that politics plays out, there is an economic aspect to how the BJP looks at progress. Industries, roads, and we saw Mamta's rise to power before 2011 was when the left back in the day tried to bring in a Tata plant, tried to bring in industry in West Bengal, and somehow surprisingly the protest around that led to the creation of the phenomenon of Mamta Banerjee, which lasted for a very long time. So do you feel that BJP's brand of economic politics in West Bengal from here on, not politics, not Hindutva and cow politics, economics could perhaps give Mamta Banerjee a chance to play a vocal critic and opposition? As an opposition, she'll be formidable at 120 MLAs.
Yes, she will. Yes, she will. But let me talk about the economics of West Bengal. The BJP has promised that it will bring in investment. But what the investment is not very clear. But clearly, the younger people, maybe others maybe there is a hope that the double engine, as a result of the double engine, the withholding of the perception that the withholding of money and the withholding of encouragement to invest in West Bengal that era will end and that a new era will begin. So these are imponderables, but as Neerja very correctly pointed out, there is a hope. And perhaps this vote reflects that hope, as it reflects the anti-incumbency as much, because, hope and despair are part of anti-incumbency. So going forward, I would imagine that the BJP has its work cut out because of two things. One, it has promised hope in terms of a economic transformation of West Bengal, the Sonar Bangla effect. And the second is that BJP has to provide clean government. It has to provide better services. And then, as it so happens, the BJP has to fulfill its priority number one of zero tolerance for Ghuspettiyas. It has to provide for its second priority, which is bringing in the UCC. With Mamta Banerjee, as he pointed out, a formidable opposition, and she is very good at that role, or has been in the past. The BJP is going to have its work cut out. West Bengal is going to be, I would say, a very, 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 very a troublesome spot for the next few years if these trends hold.
Troublesome spot. Very politely put. Extremely politely put. Aditi Phadnis, just quickly coming back to you. Off the top of your mind at 11:02, yeah, Ms. Shikha Mukherjee, I'm aware you have to leave. Thank you very much, ma'am, for joining us. Thank you so much. Ms. Aditi Phadnis, off the top of your mind at 11:02, what do you think are the big things that we as journalists, as citizens, as the commentariat, must keep in mind, and the message in these results?
Well, first, where we all went wrong. I don't think any exit poll and certainly no mainstream journalist was correct in predicting the kind of rise of TVK in Tamil Nadu that we are seeing now. Second, a dilemma. What are you going to do? What is any government going to do in West Bengal with all those people who have been disenfranchised? Because the SIR, as we know, has told around 90 lakh people that they are not eligible to vote. If you are not eligible to vote, you are not eligible to be a citizen of India. If you are not a citizen of India, what are you? So I think it's a very heartbreaking and a very difficult situation to be in. As a citizen of India myself, who is enrolled and who has voted and will hopefully continue to vote, I want to know, why people who are whose right to vote has been taken away, why they're here at all. So the BJP must make it clear what it plans to do with these people. Are they going to be put in camps like it has happened in some parts of Assam? Are they going to be sent back to wherever they claim they came from, or wherever they claim the country they claim ownership of? Is this going to be a religion neutral exercise? I think everybody has to ask these questions because these are important for our existence as a democracy.
Very, very interesting. Mr. Srinivasan, would you like to take that one? Did everyone get this dramatic rise of the TVK? I would say to some extent, even that outlier pollster, Mr. Pradeep Gupta, even he did not predict a seat share as far and wide as this. He spoke about this dramatic rise, but not a seat share as dramatic as this. So do you feel that many people in their understanding were unaware of this dramatic rise and need of a Vijay to come to the center stage, and why?
Right. I think there are a number of questions. Before that, I thought one question we could have asked on Bengal is, there is a very strong subnationalism, the language issue, all those issues are also there in West Bengal. And with BJP in power, how they're going to deal with this? Because even Prime Minister Modi and Amit Shah, they're all speaking in Hindi. Their speeches were in Hindi, and in Bengal, they are not translated the way it is done in Tamil Nadu. So it's very interesting how these things played out. And despite those odds, if BJP could come to power, one of the reasons to my mind is obviously the role SIR has. And 27 lakh people to the last day were still undergoing 27, 29 lakhs, I think, the adjudication process. Many of them have been, looking at on very small technical grounds, misspelt of name, which they call as logical errors. And once these
Logical discrepancy, yes.
Logical discrepancies, once these are fixed, probably they'll be given back the right to vote. But then, like Supreme Court said, if not this election, they can always vote in the next election. But what that seems to have done is certainly change the ground in a way for BJP, as some political observers have been suspecting, especially Yogendra Yadav. He has been saying the ground has been very clearly seemed to have been prepared, and those kinds of allegations once again will come up, and I think they should be discussed. And there should be somebody who's should be answering that. I don't think anybody will answer. This will be brushed under the carpet, and things will go as usual. I think that's what is going to happen ultimately. But this is a crucial question. Now, coming to TVK's performance in Tamil Nadu, why people failed to, gauge that, certainly journalists missed it. They missed it uh, because they did see that there is something happening, but to what extent it will hurt the traditional AIDMK and DMK, that's what they couldn't judge. And again, even the pollsters, like you said, it's very difficult to convert vote share into seats, and they went wrong in those seat conversion, and they kept vote share same 35%. Axis My India said same 35% is what DMK will get, and also TVK. But when it comes to conversion of seats, they did falter. So why did they miss? Probably because this party is very young. It just came up in 2024. And like I pointed out earlier to you in our discussion, Vijay hardly campaigned anywhere. Also he was restricted initially following the Karur mishap in which 41 people died. By the way, his party is leading in Karur too. Um, he was in Chennai, like I said earlier, only for 3 days, in and around Chennai. In Tirunelveli, which is south Tamil Nadu, he was there only 1 day. Thoothukudi, again south of Tamil Nadu, 1 day. Tirupur, Dharmapuri, all western belt. He was there again only for a day, and Trichy for a day, where he is contesting another seat other than Perambur. So his campaign was very brief, but I think it's pretty impactful because he, the way you see the performance, he could convert this very short spell of campaign, which he did only as in the form of a, rally, which is called nowadays as roadshow, borrowed from business journalism perhaps. So he did this road shows, that's all. And therefore, whether this was enough to turn, DMK, which has a history, like I said earlier, 100-year-old history, not as a party, but as a movement. The Dravidian movement is not something new. And offshoot of that, AIDMK, which is again more than 50 years. And here you have a party which seems to be in some form as post-ideology, because TVK's Vijay did not articulate except saying that, he kept all the figures. He kept Annadurai also Kamrajar, everybody in his posters. So it wasn't very clear. He only said that, my political enemy is DMK and my, ideological enemy is BJP. That's all he said. Beyond that, there was no clarity on what he was going to do. So that's the reason, because journalists largely go by the precedent and try to gauge situation on the basis of that. But what has happened here is something very unusual and different. The real story now would be whether he manages to form the government, because obviously the mandate is for him, having crossed 104 now as the leads I could see on the TV screens. Well, how's he going to form a government? Because he's still short of, he must cross 118. So he needs those seats, and where will it come from? So he has to speak to AIDMK. And how does that shapes whether AIDMK, because it's an partner of NDA, and what happens? Because if you look at all other individual parties, if you have to keep out DMK allies, they are not coming up to a block of 18 seats or 16 seats or 14 seats, which is required. They're falling short. So it's going to be a very interesting post-poll game plan here.
I agree with you. But, to anyone who concludes that Dravidian politics, this is the sun sets on Dravidian politics, I don't think that is really the case. My understanding, Ms. Aditi Phadnis, is that Dravidian politics in Tamil Nadu is much more than just, say, the result of the DMK or the AIA-DMK. If you look at the ADMK and DMK combined, there's still about 120 odd MLAs. Their lead is still on about 120 plus odd seats. So do you think that this conclusion will be unfair, that in Tamil Nadu there has been an absolute outlier who has come to power, completely defying the grounds of Dravidian politics?
I don't think that is the case. I don't believe that Dravidian politics has come to an end, or that this election is a death knell for Dravidian politics. In Tamil Nadu, Dravidian politics is equal to equity. Where there is inequity, the both social and economic, Dravidian parties have come up to the fore. So I don't think that is the case. But in Vijay's case, we have to. What Srini Vasan said is quite interesting. We have to now see the post-poll scenario. Uh, my understanding is that Vijay's advisors are not people who are that well versed in the post-election manipulation and negotiation and diplomacy that the other parties have. I mean, the past master is, of course, DMK, but the ADMK is not far behind. These are experienced old sinners when it comes to doing deals. But the question is whether instinctively, intuitively, Vijay is going to lend himself to give BJP a platform in Tamil Nadu, knowing people's antipathy to some of the politics of the BJP. Who is going to advise him? How is he going to be going forward if he forms the government? He has made some pretty rash promises. Can the Tamil Nadu exchequer bear the burden of those rash promises, like gold, giving gold to families, and so on and so forth? These are all questions that we have to answer. Because, I mean, the election is now over. The result is, give or take, is pretty much clear, the outcome. And what happens now is what the new government does with all the issues that it is faced with.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. This is just the first of the many dispatches that you would see right here on the Federal. Mr. S. Srinivasan, Mr. K. A. Shaji, as well as yes, sure.
Conclude.
Yeah.
I think one thing must be remembered in Tamil Nadu: if you don't have Dravidian politics, you can't survive. That's a base. That's a given. Without that, you can't do anything. Social equity, those things, everybody must speak. Otherwise, they can't survive. That's one. Second, I would be very keen if Shaji could give an answer. Congress is very famous for destroying its own case. What are they going to do now? They have won this. Who's going to be the next chief minister? Because K.C. Venugopal, I'm sure he's already in Delhi trying to plead his case. The election, actually, the man who actually led it is, I think, Satisan. And he even staked his entire career on it. And he said that, he may take a political exile in case he loses. That's, I think, maybe Shaji will be able to throw some light.
And if I can just add, Mr. Shaji, the point that Mr. Srinivasan was making, you see, all through the build-up of this election, the Congress took great pride in saying that we have successfully been able to put aside our leadership differences in getting our Kerala campaign together. We can see its results, but we all know how Congress loves to shoot itself in the foot. Now that they have the mandate, do you feel that these factional feud will come to the fore and will be seen more pronounced and prominent in Kerala?
Favoring Venugopal. Hmm? And it is clearly showing that there is a wide section of the people, a sizable part of the leadership and also the followers of the party. They prefer Venugopal, despite he had not contested in the election. He is already a Lok Sabha member and he is the chief of the public sector undertakings committee chairman. And despite all this, he wanted to become the chief minister. He never said he is not pursuing the chief minister position. And it is not easy. If he is becoming the chief minister, in another 6 months there would be an election, a by-election. And you see the Kerala social media circles, most of the Congress leaders, ordinary workers and they are coming and they are pleading with the Venugopal, don't do such a suicidal attempt. It would be very difficult for him if he is contesting in a by-election, forcing one elected member to resign and getting elected from there. It is very difficult task, not an easy task for him. And the present the Lok Sabha seat of Alleppey, that would be easily taken over by the left. So the most of the Congress leaders in Kerala, most of the cadres in Kerala, they are preferring Vijay Sadishan because everybody knows in Kerala this victory is largely the outcome of the hard work by Sadishan. He has been traveling across Kerala for the last 5 years. He is organizing, he was revamping the party, and he was putting up a brave front not only against the CPM but also against the BJP. And it is very clear, BJP was highly hopeful they would win 5 seats this time. And now they are having only very narrow kind of edge in Nemo. And in Palakkad, they are trailing. They are trailing in Manjeshwar. And many seats they felt secure and they felt they would win this time. The BJP's experiment failed largely because of Sadishan. So Sadishan leadership, apart from the Congress people, the ordinary people, the general people in Kerala, they prefer Sadishan. So there would be a big tussle within the party and Ramesh Chennittala is another contender and he was also getting elected. And so coming back, and another thing I will tell you, this is nothing new to Kerala's Congress. In the past, there were more bitter or more intense fights between the leaders over the post of the chief minister. So it is part of the Congress culture, part of the Congress legacy. But we are looking how the Congress is going to solve the issue. It would not be an easy thing.
Very interesting. Very interesting. That after a successful victory, will the Congress go back to its very staple templated response of chaos in trying to sort out...
One thing I will tell you.
Yeah.
One thing I will tell you, it would not be easy for the Congress High Command to write off Vijay Sadishan because he consolidated his position. He is more stronger than during the election time. After this victory, the people are praising Sadishan and he is more stronger than before.
All right. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Srini Vasan, Mr. K.A. Shaji, as well as Aditi Phadnis for joining us. Do keep watching our dispatches right here on The Federal through the course of the day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sanket. Thank you.
Thank you.